down, baby.
The New Orleans Pelicans and the Big 870 WWL proudly presents Pelicans Weekly. It's a weekly radio magazine focused on the Pelicans, the fans, and the NBA. We'll get the latest from Pelicans players, coaches, and front office staff. Plus, we'll check in with our experts around the league. Tonight's show is brought to you by Smoothie King. Rule the day. Chevron, the human energy company. By Energy, we power life. And by New Age Products, official garage and outdoor kitchen provider of the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans Weekly on the Big 870 starts now. Here's your host, Gus Kattengell.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Gus Kattengell, and welcome to Pelicans Weekly, where we recap the week that was, take a peek at the week that will be, and everything in between. Coming up in 10 minutes, the voice of the Pelicans, Todd Graffagnini, sits down with Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations and Team Development, Swin. So the Pelicans are 3-5 on this election Tuesday. The Pelicans were wrapping up a 4-game West Coast trip when we last joined you, facing the Golden State Warriors in back-to-back games, then coming home for 4 straight, where 3 are now in the books. We'll recap all that. Let's go back to San Francisco. That first game there, NOLA led 51-47 at the half before being outscored in the second half, 77-56. Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson doing all they could, 31 and 30 respectively, but 23 turnovers, 8 by Zion himself, did not help the cause. Voice of the Pels, Todd Graffagnini.
McCollum doubled.
There's 14.
Turnover. Dunk. So they're just doubling our ball handlers, and it's easy. Down to 5, 4:30 to go, second quarter. They are now plus 12 at the three-point line. Herb, left corner 3, tries to answer and barely rippled the net in front of our bench. You can't make them if you don't take them. 59-54. So Herb with the 3, and then a near steal of Podziemski. Both guys are on the deck, and Podziemski gets it back. Herb's hurt. 3-ball Podziemski. Herb is hurt. Podziemski knocked the 3. Kuminga, step back 3. Need I say more? 81-72. This game turned around in a hurry, didn't it? Back to Hawkins, passes up another 3. Tries to do too much. Get it down low, knocked out of bounds by Lindy Waters. Attempts now from beyond the arc, 33-16. Throw it out long. Ingram steps into a left wing 3. Buried it. Rattled in. Can't make them if you don't take them. You're down 11 with 6:55 to go. You've got time. Ingram doubled, nearly stolen, ball on the deck. Jose's got it. Splits defenders, shovels it to Missi. Too many passes. Too many passes. Showtime, Kuminga. Reverse. Dunk.
Now, a huge reason for that loss was the disparity in three-point shooting, as you heard Graf mention there. The Pels went 9 of 22, while the Warriors went 21 of 46. Head coach Willie Green on the loss.
Well, it was fueled by our turnovers. We just shot ourselves in the foot over and over again. They're an aggressive defensive team, and if you don't take care of the ball against them, it fuels their transition opportunities. They're getting threes, they're getting to the basket, they're getting to the free throw line, and you're in for a long night. And that's what it comes down to, is being aggressive defensively, but really offensively we just shot ourselves and we gave them too many opportunities.
So what's the cause of all the turnovers? Zion Williamson had this to say, that perhaps Dejounte Murray being injured, it's a little time of adjustment for the team at that point.
You know, you practice a certain way all training camp, and then, we lose in our guard with Dejounte. So, we're NBA players. We got to make that adjustment quick. But I don't think it's the cause for panic. I think it's just we need to lock in. It's 82 games.
Herb Jones and C.J. McCollum would suffer injuries to add insult to injury. The next night, the Pels, well, they couldn't make a shot.
Swinging around to Hawkins, passed up the 3, drives in and loses it, and walked. and he turned his ankle. So he hesitated. He had a three, didn't take it, and now he turned his ankle. He's not 100%. And he turned it over. No 2 for 1 here. Shot clock at 10. Zion between circles. They are daring him to shoot. Just daring him. He won't do it. He'll take it into the rack and blow another layup. You know, I don't have the numbers. And I don't know who could look that up for me, as he missed them both. This literally could be the worst shooting night in Zion Williamson's career. High school, college, and professional. He is beside himself on the bench. His head buried in both hands.
He finished 5 of 20 on the night, 12 points, 12 rebounds. So what was the difference between one night where you put up 31 and the next night you couldn't buy a bucket?
You know, last game I had a lot more success because I was more patient. I think tonight I was forcing the issue more, taking shots over 2 or 3 guys. Like I had a kick out or a better look. I just got to get ready to be impatient.
At the end of the game, head coach Willie Green was asked if he was concerned that the team had lost 3 straight games.
No, not on my part. It's no concern.
Well, on Friday against the Pacers, we saw perhaps why coach wasn't concerned at that point.
Now Ingram, little flop to Z.
Yes, sir!
Coming left baseline, he caught that thing top of the box and slammed it in with 2 hands.
That looked like it was too high, and Z caught the elevator.
Oh, and Missi just blocked Miles Turner. Turner went for a hammer, and the rookie said, "No, you don't, veteran."
Yves says, "This is my bayou. You cannot have that."
Eve of destruction. Pels up 70-64. Ingram with a deflection and a steal. 3 on 2. B.I. center of the lane. No look, Yves. Oh, he just postered Miles Turner. Soaring rookie. Right hand hammer.
Mr. Missi.
The building is alive.
Just baptized Miles Turner.
Wow, he did. Boston's free, right wing 3, hit another one. Welcome to New Orleans, Brandon Boston Jr.
Boston with a couple of massive threes here.
He's got 14 off the bench. Left corner, Green, out long Ingram, goes behind the back, drives to the dotted line, spins left, and flushes it down.
B.I. with the punch.
Pels with the 125-118 win. Zion had 34, Brandon Ingram 26. Head coach Willie Green on how he and B.I. led the way in more ways than one.
I think it's a huge growth moment for them to step in the right direction. Let's start with their defense, communicating defensively. Those guys were talking all game, getting guys in the right spots, rebounding the ball, sharing the basketball, trusting their teammates. And then offensively, they both are more than capable of putting up huge numbers, you know, night in and night out, and we saw that tonight.
Unfortunately, Zion would miss the next 2 games, and Jordan Hawkins, who was gutting throughout the game, unfortunately, Zion would miss the next 2 games with a sore hamstring and then sore thigh. Jordan Hawkins, who was gutting through the games on Friday and Sunday with back stiffness and tightness, he would miss Monday's game to rest it so he could play later this week, hopefully. Now, the Pels lost Sunday to the Hawks 126-111, and Monday night 118-100 to the Trailblazers, as the team simply ran out of gas in both of those games in the fourth quarter. Head coach Willie Green.
It's difficult to lose a game. Is frustrating for, you know, just being in the moment. But I speak for all of us. We're proud of the way our guys have stepped up and they go out and compete. And even through the losses, there's valuable lessons for us that will help us as we move forward and as we get whole. But right now, you know, this is kind of where we are. We kind of ran out of steam last, 5 to 7 minutes of the game. There's 2 games in a row. And, it happens.
When we come back, Todd Graffagnini has this week's interview with Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations and Team Development, Swin. We'll hear that conversation next. You're listening to Pelicans Weekly on WWL.
Welcome back to Pelicans Weekly. Here's the voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, Todd Graffagnini, with this week's interview.
Welcome back to Pelicans Weekly. Todd Graffagnini with you. Very special edition of Pelicans Weekly on this election night. And pleasure to be joined by Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations and Team Development, Swin. Thank you so much for your time on this very important evening in not only the NBA, but in America.
Absolutely. Happy to be here with you, Todd.
Swin, first of all, before we get to all the festivities about election night, let's talk about the team just briefly. You know, not the start you wanted, but it's just so difficult right now with the injuries on the team. And look, it's a part of the NBA. It's difficult because it's so early in the year, and this is such a different group. And it's just hard without the practice time to get the chemistry that you need. Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at our team, we didn't have kind of that full opportunity to look at them through the preseason, and then you come into the season and you have these injuries. And I'm a firm believer that when adversity hits you, how you respond really truly sets a tone for how your season's going to be for the year. And what I mean by that is that's not so much the wins and losses in it. It's like, how are we building? How are we trying to find a common thread, even when you have so much and so many guys with so many minutes out? It also gives you an opportunity for some of the guys who don't play as much to really get a chance to see them, Todd, as well. You know, it's crazy because I was talking with Griff about this a week ago, and if there's any coach that's, you know, someone who can handle this, it's Willie Green, because unfortunately he's had to deal with this basically since he stepped in the door. Yeah, unfortunately, I think throughout the league, all of the coaches, it's one of those things where it's not a controllable, and it's how do you make the adjustments? How do you galvanize the players right now, and how do you get them to buy into continuing to work every day and building towards what your vision was to start the year. And I think that next man up mentality is always there, but I believe in the work, the everyday progress, the incremental growth is what you try to find in times like this. All right, Swin, let's get to the task at hand, one of the most important elections in the history of our country. And look, the NBA has done a fantastic job, even going back towards Summer League, to really promote, get out and vote. What are the teams doing individually, not just what the teams are doing, but what the teams are doing as far as putting out their individual players to really promote getting out there and voting? Yeah, you know, I have to just really give credit to our players. And I think we have a strong leadership group within our core of guys that understand the civic duty of voting and understand how they lead and with their platforms. And so having someone like CJ McCollum, who is the president also of the Players Association, he is such an instrumental part in what we do. I think also I have to give a shout out to our business side and Dr. Darvell Hutchins. He has been instrumental in making sure that we have all the information we need in our partnerships with I Am a Voter. There's a number of things that go into play, but this is really important for our players and our organization that we use our platform to make sure that we're being an example of what we want to see in this country and in Louisiana. And of course, Monday night, civic duty night, where every team's playing and the times are split 15 minutes apart. I've been asked this question 30 times. Why did the NBA split the times up the way that they're doing it? You know, I don't think anything is by an accident. I think when you look at some of those dates, whether it's the Christmas Day game, whether you look at the in-season tournament, the NBA, I always feel like we're tinkering with things to see how we continue to grow brand, not only here, but globally. And I mean, if you're a hoop head, like we all are, these are one of the nights where you're just, you know, the TV, you got the iPad, everything's going so that you can kind of really see all the games because you get a chance to do that on this one night. In the but NBA. Again, the NBA just with the one vote, get out and vote. It's so important for the country, for the league to be involved. And you just feel like that night after night, the message is really getting through. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think for me, the biggest thing is in the position that I hold, Todd, not only, I mean, we talk about being an executive, but as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, I want to make sure that my two young boys understand that every time mom had an opportunity, every time dad had an opportunity, we stepped up and made a decision we felt that was best for our country and for our family. And I love the fact that we can have those conversations. I feel like there's something with sports that galvanizes and brings us together. And if you
you have a platform like we have with the Pelicans, we have to use that platform for the good. And the good is always together we are stronger. So our vote is our voice.
Swin, outstanding stuff. Thanks so much, and get out there and vote.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys. Get out there and vote. Use your voice.
That is Swin Cash, Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations and Team Development for your New Orleans Pelicans. Gus Kattengell will be back to wrap up Pelicans Weekly after this on the Pelicans Radio Network.
Welcome back to Pelicans Weekly on WWL. Now, back to Gus Kattengell.
While the Pelicans have had to navigate and deal with injuries the last couple of games and weeks, they've had to find able-bodied players, two-way contract players in particular, to try to find a way to get some wins. More importantly, though, it is giving an opportunity to players to show that they belong, perhaps, in the NBA and are taking full advantage of the opportunity. One such player, Mr. Brandon Boston Jr.
Steal Brandon Boston, one-on-one.
Oh, nice.
And a reverse layup right in Anthony Simon's face.
He might have given him a little sham god on that one to get around him and go baseline for that reverse layup.
So Boston's got 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals in 8 minutes. Got it to Alvarado. Now Ingram, hook pass to Boston, left angle three, online and down. It hit the rim, the top of the backboard, and dropped. Boston pounded from behind. Right elbow, midi, down. Brandon Boston Jr.
I'm going to start calling Brandon Boston a chef because he's able to make a little chicken salad out here every now and then. That's an offensive foul on Clingan.
Yes, it is. Noel tried to fight through the screen. By the way, Brandon Boston Jr. now with 18 points in this game.
Well, Brandon Boston Jr. would finish with 20, so the last 3 games, 14, 14, and 20 points. Oh, by the way, he has yet to practice officially with the team, if you can even believe that. Following the game on Monday, Brandon Ingram had this to say about him.
Another guard that can create. I think he got into his mix a little bit. He definitely provided some scoring for us tonight and some good decisions on the offensive end. It was good to have him out there.
And B.I. respecting the fact that this player is taking advantage of his opportunity.
No, actually. I watched him a little bit in high school, a little bit in college, and I just thought he never got the opportunity to play. And he's a 5-star guy, so, he got something in his bag that he's ready to unleash, and, he's been doing it the last 2 games.
Head coach Willie Green had this to say.
I love that he's aggressive, he's assertive, he's putting his stamp on every game, and he's carving out an opportunity for himself.
And for Coach, there's particularly one thing, a trait, that really is standing out.
I see his hunger to prove to everybody that, he belongs in this league. And we're grateful to be able to be the team that can give him an opportunity. We don't like the circumstances, always with guys being out, but, there's some good that'll come out of this.
The former Wildcat had this to say what's been like so far in a wild ride since he's joined the team.
Honestly, it's been amazing. I just stay ready. I stay in the gym every day, every night, and just put faith in God that a situation like this will come and I flourish. And
when you hear him say staying in the gym, he means it.
Like I said, this is my work, my getting up at 7 a.m., coming back at 7 p.m., so just trusting my work.
Again, I mentioned he hadn't even practiced with the team when he spoke back on the 2nd of November.
Honestly, what's so crazy is that was actually my 2nd time playing with those guys. Even, I didn't have no practices because I had the training camp deal with the Spurs, so just coming in and fitting right in. Guys welcome me with open arms. It's just the energy's there, and the respect is mutual.
Pretty nuts when you think of not really knowing your teammates and being able to put double-digit points in the last 3 games that you played. As far as one of the teammates on the Pelicans he actually is familiar with, Jose Alvarado.
Honestly, me and Jose, we go way back to when I was in 9th or 10th grade playing AAU. So when I played with Sharif Cooper and AOT, he was at Georgia Tech. So their Georgia Tech team would come play our AAU team. We just scrimmage, play 5s all day.
How did you guys do against the Georgia Tech team?
Come on now, ask Jose. Nah, we competed though. We competed every day. It was a good bump, and that's all we got asked for.
So continued success for Brandon Boston Jr. And more importantly, if he can continue to have the success he's had, he hopefully will help the Pelicans get a win here. So what's ahead for New Orleans? Well, they have undefeated Cleveland tomorrow night at the Smoothie King Center. The Cavs won on Monday 116-114 over Milwaukee to move to 8-0 on the season. Friday, the Pels are at 3-5 Orlando, and on Monday they will host the Brooklyn Nets, who are 4-4. Again, those records heading into Wednesday's action. No games here on this election Tuesday. Everything gets back up and running on Wednesday. Hopefully the Pels can start getting some healthy bodies back. And when we talk to you again next Tuesday, we'll have a couple of wins to discuss here as well. Our thanks to Swin for joining us. For Todd Graffagnini, I'm Gus Kattengell. We will see you next week for another episode of Pelicans Weekly right here on WWL.
Pelicans Weekly was brought to you by Smoothie King. Rule the day. Ochsner Health System, the official healthcare provider of the New Orleans Pelicans. Keesler Federal Credit Union, official credit union of the New Orleans Pelicans. SeatGeek, get your seat in a seat. And Morris Bart, if you know, you know. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on Pelicans Weekly, right here on WWL. Let's go, Pels!